I have recently turned off my read receipts on iMessage.
Ooh.
And I have had mine on since I've had an iPhone, like my first iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like changed my life. Like you play guitar, you play piano, and
Obviously.
don't deflect the compliments. I
No,
mean,
no,
like
you're right. Okay.
the facts
Yes.
are the facts, and you sing and you write music and you write lyrics. So, like, when did that journey kind of start out? What was that like? What were the inspirations that kind of like placed you onto that path?
I was actually thinking about that today. Honestly, I've just always written music, or I've always like liked writing. I started off like going to church and everything all the time, like with my family, and so I would always constantly hear like worship music, and then I wasn't allowed to listen to like the radio until I was like 16. No, not that old. Like 14, let's say 14.
Okay.
Rough draft, 14. And I wasn't allowed to. Like, they just didn't want me to listen to the things that were on the radio because they thought the things that were on the radio that were kind of just like not good influences, I guess. And then one day I rode in the car with my older sister and she was listening to Justin Bieber, I think it was. And she was listening to it and I was like, I'm not supposed to be listening to this. But I listened to it and I was like, oh, this is really entertaining. And so then after that, I started listening to the radio in my room because I had a radio and I would like change the channels to listen to what song I wanted. And I'm like, wow, there's so much more music. But up until that point, all I wrote about was like Christian songs. It's all I could write. And I tried writing love songs, but I had never experienced like love.
Of course, I was about to
say. Yeah. So they were so bad, like so bad and so cheesy and everything. And then the very, very first love song I ever like wrote and was really proud about. Now, if I listen back to it, I'm like, oh my God. But I was proud at the time was because I met someone and he was my best friend's brother. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with him. And I told her, and I wrote a song about him because he's obsessed with like stars and stuff. So I wrote a song about him, and then I showed it to the sister, and I sent her a picture of the lyrics and stuff. And I'm like, I wrote the song, and then I played it for her, and she's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then I was close to their mom too, so I showed their mom.
Oh man, that's bold.
Well, I thought I could trust them low key, but then I found out like a year ago that the mom showed him the song, and so now I'm like, oh my God, he knew the song this whole time. So yeah, we're still friends, him and I, but
that's good.
I'm not in love with him anymore, sorry. but it was your eyes sparkle and they shine like the Milky Way. The way you say hello gets me every time I close my eyes. You're always on my mind and I can't get you out of my mind. I rhymed mind with mine.
Hey, sometimes you gotta do that.
But that was like the first song I wrote start to finish. And that I actually showed someone else. Like, I'm super private with my music normally, because when I write music, it's like super like special to me. It's not just stuff I'm like write for the heck of it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write. No, it's like because that's my outlet. It's the way I like release my emotions. I used to not really like to tell anyone. Now I tell like one person what I'm feeling, like we were saying.
Yeah.
But that's like my outlet. If I'm feeling super stressed or like worried or like really happy or really sad or really in love or really mad, I just like go straight to I just have my guitar and then I play chords and then I like listen to the progression and then I just freestyle and I record it on my voice memos, and then when I'm done I listen back to it and like, oh wow, like I like that, or like I'll take a few times or I'll send it to someone, and then I'll be like, okay, well, since it was a freestyle, some of the stuff is whack, or like some of the stuff doesn't add up, or it could be better, so then I'll go back and make corrections if I feel like it needs it. But a lot of times it's just like what I was feeling in the moment, so it's solid, but well, not solid, but it's like it's genuine.
Yeah,
and that's what
that's
I
exactly what we were talking about also, like on off the record, like whenever you're writing, like when it comes to lyrics, like I think that if you are writing with intention of like, I want to write this because I'm feeling this way right now, like you're obviously feeling that way, so that's going to be placed into the song, and it's very hard to go back and rephrase things or change things. So I think that for you to be vulnerable with like your music, it's important to stay true to like what you were feeling, especially when you're going to share that with someone too, which is what I wanted to ask next. Like, you are very private with your music.
Really? Yeah.
So when it comes to releasing music, which will have happened by the time you guys watch this, but prepping for that, like, people are going to know what you're saying.
Yeah.
They can interpret that however they want to,
Right.
based upon whatever they think you went through with what experience, but they're still seeing and hearing you at being at your vulnerable state.
Right.
How, like, I know that's a nerve-wracking thing.
Yeah.
Especially because you're private.
Yes.
How has, like, your comfortability, like, progressed over time with being okay with that release?
Right. I think I started singing. I never sang in front of anyone ever. So I started singing in front of, like, my church, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And since then, I've been more public, I guess, with my music now, because I've gotten more used to doing it in front of, like, lots of people, not my own music, but, like, singing songs. So then I got a little less nervous with that, and I did a talent show with our youth band, and, like, our youth band performed at the camp, and we won. So that was
nice.
It was so cool. And then it was just like, I realized that I was worried a lot for no reason, but it's different when you're singing someone else's song. When you're singing your own song, it's like, oh, it's so scary, because there's a lot of songs that I've written and I'm like, I never want anyone to hear this, because then they would see way too much of me. But there's also, like, I have to get to that point where, like, this is how I'm feeling, and if they don't accept that, then, like, they don't accept me, and that's fine. Like, not everyone has to, like we talked about, but, like, it's so important to me that it shouldn't matter what other people think, and it's just something I'm feeling. And I've always wanted to be really genuine with people and open, so, like, when they see me, they're not seeing, like, this person and then I'm my own self inside, but, like, I want them to see, like, me and who I am. And I think that the way I do that is through my music. So I'm like, oh, maybe if I start sharing my music, then maybe I can start sharing me with people on a different level than I normally do. Because I hate texting or, like, Snapchatting or Instagram messaging. I just can't stand that. Like, I love, like, this interaction in person.
Right.
And I feel like listening to music is another way of that, kind of.
Going into, like, the fabricated world of, like, social media, you recently took, like, a break.
I did,
very
like,
extensive break.
3 weeks, almost like a month, because I was just
more than I can say, which is unfortunate, but
it was just a lot. I was just going through a lot. I don't know. I'm a very emotional person, and not like I would cry a lot, because sometimes I do. But, like, I feel a lot. Like, I feel a lot for people, and I feel a lot for things happening in my life, and just I'm getting to the point I'm about to, like, fresh out of college. Like, I have 2 semesters left. So, like, that's coming close, and money is always so frustrating for college students and people in general. So that's always, like, been weighing down on me, and, like, comparing what I'm doing to other people. Like, if I see people having more friends or, like, hanging out in a group of friends, I'm like, oh my God, like, I wish I had that. My time on my phone, like, you could see the screen time, and it was like 9 hours on Instagram, and I was like, shut up. I was like, no, it's lying, but it doesn't lie. So I was like, yo, that's crazy. So I was like, what do I need to do? And so I just deleted it. And then I was like, oh, this is actually really nice and really refreshing. But then I got some people texting me, and they're like, why are you ignoring me? It's been 3 days. And they're like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, text me. Like, I have a phone, or call me or something.
Yeah.
So, and I hate, like, I love people and I love talking to people, but I hate, like, the burden of, like, looking at your, like, DMs and being like, oh my God, I have to respond to these people, and I don't want to, because it's just surface level. Everything is always like, oh wow, like, your life looks so cool, or like, wow, I love your outfit, or like, here's this meme or something, which they're funny and stuff, but, like, what I'm just like, LOL, and then that's it, and then, like, that's the end. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just, it got, like, annoying, because I just hated having to have small talk with everyone all the time. And people having that much access to me all the time. Like, I don't want to be like, I don't want to, like, have to feel like I have to respond to people right away, or if I open their message, oh my gosh, I have to respond, because then they'll think I'm ignoring them.
It's seen and everything. Yeah, I have recently turned off my read receipts on iMessage.
Ooh.
And I have had mine on since I've had an iPhone, like my first iPhone. And I recently turned it off because I was in a situation where I was like, you know what? I don't want other people to know what I'm doing, and when I see their message. I'll get to it whenever I need to, when I want to, and when I can. you have like this artificial, like this fabricated like burden or responsibility of like having to respond to people when you don't want to. And then in your case, or in some people's cases, like it really could just be surface level stuff that is just like, I don't feel like even entertaining this right now.
Right.
And then in other cases, it's just like, I'm busy, I'm doing something else right now. Like I'm not even in the headspace to communicate with whatever it is that you need to talk about. So I am living right now. Like I feel like I am on like a like different.
I'm not responding to people for 10 hours. I'm chilling.
It's so dumb that's like, but it's so funny. And at the same time, it really has changed my perspective a little bit. Like I just feel like I'm more of like my own person. Like you said, like people don't have access to me, and that sounds a bit selfish, but sometimes we have to be that selfish. You know, like I am not responsible for everybody and whatever it is that they need to do and whatever. Like, you know, and at the same time, I have to remember that other people are not responsible for me needing some form of attention or just communication or just intimacy with friends and just, you know, like, hey, like I want to hang out. And if they're prioritizing their own thing, like I have to remember that also. Yeah. So it goes both ways, and it's something that I've been learning, but it's good. Like it's good growth.
Yeah. And there's like a few people I don't talk to anymore that we got like, it's been really rough. Like I had something in the beginning of the year that was like canceled like relationships immediately, and it was just like so nasty. And also like someone that I was like talking to last year too, but I found myself like I have like 4 accounts because I used to do my work's Instagram. I don't do it anymore, but I used to. So I would go on my work's because I'm blocked on my account from those people. Like we block each other. Oh my gosh. On my work account, I'm not blocked. So I low key would be like, let me see what they're up to.
Yeah. And then that gets.
Oh yeah,
and then gets bad.
Oh yeah, because then I was like, oh my god, he has like a girlfriend, like what? And then I look at the girlfriend, and that sounds so psycho, but like it's true. Like I'm human, like we do that. And so I was like looking at that, and like I was looking at like another person, and I was like, I don't know, it just wasn't healthy, and I was starting to do it like every day. I'd be like, oh, let's see if they posted something else. I'm like, oh, I can't click their story because then they'd see me.
Yeah, right. That but, I mean, I'm glad that you brought that up and have felt like comfortable enough to like say that, because like it really is something that isn't uncommon. Right. You know, like I personally have been in that position. I know other people have been in that position because we're human, and that's what we do. We tend to just compare ourselves often. In the way of like how we look, what we're doing, what we've accomplished, what we've been through, and even as selfish as that, like what we've been through, like I cannot dismiss someone else's experience because of mine and like compare where we at in our place. Like I'm 25 years old, you're 21, like we're in 2 different places, and so like I can't be like, damn, Noelle is doing all this stuff at like 21, or like you can't be like, Elijah's doing all this stuff, well, I'm 25. Like we're in 2 different places, you know? Yeah, exactly. But it's hard, it's way easier said than done, because we're human. Right. And at the end of the day, it's still going to happen. So having to take those breaks on social media I think is something that's really refreshing and important. I need to hold myself accountable and do it at some point. But then, you know, I fall into this rabbit hole. And I had this conversation with my friend Maria also, of like, if I get off Instagram, like, how am I going to keep up with We Are Human? And like, I have to keep the engagement up, and like, I need the followers, and I need to keep posting content. I feel like that's different. That's so different, because it's like a business that you're doing. But like if it's like your personal thing, you can take a break from your personal or something. Yeah. But if you're like doing something and pursuing something you're passionate about, you shouldn't feel guilty for like putting time into it and that kind of stuff. But yeah, now I'm doing a week on, week off. So that's good. I didn't want to like come back completely, because I feel like I get a lot of stuff done when I'm not on Instagram for 8 hours. So yeah, your productivity was going to increase so much tenfold. So like I've done so many more things, and I've learned so many new things, which is so weird, but like that was something that was holding me back for sure. So I've definitely had fun with that. What's one thing that you got to learn about yourself while you were off? And then something also that you just learned and taught yourself, because you also said you were like teaching yourself a lot of things. Yeah, teaching myself new things, because I like doing that. But so I didn't really like learn it new, but I kind of relearned it. But yeah, okay, take it. But I really realized how like important family is to me. Yeah. Because like whenever I'm on my phone, I'm obviously not spending time with them. I'm in my bed, just chilling, or I'm just like disconnected. And then so being off my phone, like my sister is young, but she's coming to an age where like she really,
I really appreciated my older sister being for me at that age. So now I want to do the same for her. It's hard to do that when I'm constantly like focused on myself and on that. So I've gotten to like spend more time with her, spend a lot more time with my brother, and we're super like close. So that's like really helped our relationship. I don't know. So it's just like a lot of things in my life change like constantly, because it's gonna happen. Like school changes, people change, like relationships change. But like the one thing that like never changes is my family. Like I know they will always be there for me, like 100%. So that's like I've kind of like re-recognized that, because we've been watching like shows together, we've been playing card games together. I go skating with my brother all the time. So it's just like it helped me realize like, oh, true, like these people are really gonna be here for me no matter what. And so the one thing that was bringing me down was people not being there for me, and I was like seeing that more the more I was on like social media and seeing their lives and stuff. But then I was like, who cares? Like I did care, low-key, obviously, because like but like who really cares? Like, 'cause at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. People are gonna come and go, but like I know that they'll always be there for me. So yeah.
I will say that this tea is from the Spice and Tea Exchange. Well, the English breakfast is not, but we love the Spice and Tea Exchange.
We do. Whichever camera.
Pearl, we mixed Jasmine Pearl and English breakfast today. So yes, we're feeling very rebellious.
Very refreshed.
Black tea and green
energized.
tea. Yes.
It's not bad. It's not as bland as I thought it was gonna be.
Red Wine is now available on all streaming platforms. Click the link in the description below to check out the full song. Now back to our program. Music is like a feeling, you know. Even whatever the lyrical content may consist of, which I used to be like a huge like lyrics person. Like I loved and appreciate good lyrics.
Me too.
And I mean, I still do, but nowadays, like it's more centered around like, how does this make me feel?
Lyrics are like super important to me. Like lyrics have always been something that pull me to a song. Like if the beat is catchy, that's so cool. Like I love that. Like whenever I do find someone to write about, or someone to write about, they're literally like all I can write about. And it's a good thing and a bad thing, because like sure, like it's fun to have like your muse or your inspiration, but then like it's just like I feel like you get stuck in like a repetitive, all your songs start to sound similar, which I would never like. I have like a vibe that I like, but I would never like want to be like the same song every single time. But so it's hard to break out of that, and I've found that like once I have that one person that I can just channel all my songwriting energy to, like I can't not do it. And then I'm just like, well, then I'm like dependent on them for new music, you know? But they don't even know. But I'm like, shoot, like every like decision, if it's something bad happens between us, boom, I can write a sad song. Something good happens between us, boom, a love song. Or like if something's like unsure between us, I'm like, ooh, unsure song. But like it sucks when your music is based off of a person, because if that person is in your life or like one day like disappears, you're like, oh my gosh, what do I write about now? Which is why writing Christian music was so much easier, because I was like, well, I'm chilling, he's not going nowhere. So, but yeah, it's definitely more challenging, but it pays off, because then I have the memories. So even if like things don't work out with the person, or like they go away and stuff, I always like, I never have anything end where I'm like, oh, I regret everything that happened. Like I never would regret a relationship, even if it ended really bad, which I've had one that ended like awfully. But like I don't regret it, because I learned so much from it about like myself, about what I'm looking for in someone, or about like just like growing up in general. So like it sucks sometimes. Like the lessons I've learned like with that person was just so hard, and it was just like it like beat me up. But I wrote some good songs about it. So the songs that like are really dear to me, like Andre hit me up the other day and he was like, yo, do you have more songs? Like let's make a bunch of songs. So I sent him like, I have like so many voice memos, so I was just sending over voice memos that I like. But there's one song that like is the most important song to me ever, and I've written it like start to finish, and it's literally like my favorite like thing, my piece of work. And I was like, if we do this song, we have to do it like acoustic with just like a vocal and an instrument, because I don't want anything else with it. And that's like the only song that I will be like, no, don't do anything else, just leave it like that. But like it has to be like that, because it's just like it's one of the biggest lessons I've learned in my life, and it's so vulnerable that if I were to put it ever put it out, like I would just like, I don't know. I still don't know if I want to, because it's showing like a lot of me, but I also
side of you too.
Yeah,
like,
but I think it's good because people need to see that like people go through things and they get out of it once they go through it. So
no, I've always been passive aggressive.
That was more aggressive, not really passive.
Probably, yeah. But I've realized that comes out a lot more often than I thought.
Yeah, you're confident in yourself. It's fine.
It's a work in progress. It's like I'm learning, I'm growing, applying.
Amen.
You know?